So we continue to get a lot of questions in tech support on how to connect the IFD with your iPad and your third-party ADSB device, such as your Stratus 3, all on the same Wi-Fi network so that we can take advantage of the features of the Stratus 3 with weather and traffic onto our iPads and still have flight plan transfer with our third-party apps. So today we're going to talk about how to do that specifically with Avidyne AviOS 10.2 and previous. 10.3 is a little bit different. We'll get to that in a separate video, but let's dig right in. I'm going to show you how that looks and how we're going to set that up. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to set up the IFD as a client on the third-party network, such as your Stratus 3, in order to share that same information. Basically, what's going to happen is your Stratus is going to be your host network. You're going to connect your IFD to the Stratus's Wi-Fi network, as well as the iPad connecting it to the Stratus network. That's going to make a neat little network there so we can share all that same information. So how we're going to do this is really quite simple. The first thing that we need to do on the IFD itself is we need to get that into maintenance mode. How we're going to do that is we've booted up our IFD. We're in what's called flight mode, like we're getting ready to go fly. But while we're on the ground, we're going to go into maintenance mode. We're going to do that by going to the aux page by pushing the aux button at the bottom of the bezel, hitting the system tab, and then pressing that download logs line select key. We call that line select key number 1. Once we select the download logs line select key, now we're going to hit confirm. That's going to be line select key number 2. The IFD is going to go into a boot cycle and it's going to reboot into maintenance mode. Now, once we're there, under the network configuration page, we're going to hit the config tab and we're going to scroll that larger outer right knob all the way over to the network configuration page. Once we do that, we're going to see a list of available networks. If we haven't added our Stratus 3 already, we're going to go ahead and do that at this time. So once we get in there, we're going to, under the SSID, we're going to enter our Stratus 3 Wi-Fi ID. If you don't know where this is on the back of the Stratus 3. You'll see something that says Wi-Fi ID, Stratus, and then a bunch of numbers. You want to add this exactly as it shows on the back of the Stratus. This is your Wi-Fi ID on the Stratus. This is also known as the SSID or the system name. A lot of times the Stratuses don't come with a password. If it doesn't, and if you do not have a password for the network for your Stratus 3, leave the PSK blank. If there is a password, you go ahead and add it at this time. Another important thing to do here is under the mode, under the network configuration page, the mode column on the right side, you want to change that to remote Wi-Fi. Otherwise, this is not going to work. Once you have set that up completely, we're going to change that mode to remote Wi-Fi, and then we're good. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to our update tab at the bottom of the screen, and we're going to go ahead and hit done, and that's going to exit out of maintenance mode. The IFD is going to reboot again. It's going to restart in the normal mode or flight mode. Now, once we have done that and we've gone through the reboot cycle, real simple, just go back to that user options page, hit the aux button, hit the setup tab, tap on that user options line select key to get to your user options page, and we're going to scroll down to the networking selection. If we've done everything right there, we're going to scroll over in the networking selection until it says Stratus or the Stratus with a bunch of numbers. Basically, what's going to happen is your SSID or your Wi-Fi ID is going to show up there under the networking tab. We don't have to select it. We don't have to push it, but we do have to turn the knob until it says Stratus and then the bunch of numbers under the networking selection. Once we do that, give it a second. We're going to let that Wi-Fi icon turn green on the top right. That's how you know that it's made a handshake. Really important to note here, though, that make sure you do this while the Stratus is on. If your Stratus is off and you're trying to find the network, it's never going to find the network, obviously. So while we're doing this, let's just make sure that that Stratus is turned on. So once we do that, the IFD is going to be able to send GPS position to the iPad, and the Stratus can send ADSB weather and traffic to the iPad as well, because now they're all on the same Stratus network. So that's it in a nutshell on how to set up a Stratus 3 with IFDs running AviOS 10.2 or previous. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us over at pilotsupport@avidyne.com.